Hi everybody, welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational companies and institutions, helping them support their family wellbeing challenges. As you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference. Today I'm really happy to be interviewing Laura. Hi Laura.
Hi Jasmine, thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much for coming. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I'm Laura. I am fairly new to the UAE. So I moved in January along with my son. My husband's been living here for about 3.5 years and has an education recruitment business here. So, we've been dipping back into and, toying with the idea of where would we kind of settle down, really, I guess. So he's my third child. My two girls are grown up and sort of flown the nest and live in London and Jersey. And I was a teacher for 20 years, much like yourself, and an education recruiter and then a wellbeing advisor.
Oh, wow.
Prior to setting up Lumi. So
tell us about Lumi.
Okay, so Lumi is an AI-powered digital tool for wellbeing for schools. So it's slightly different than a lot of the others that are around in that AI is like right at the core of the build, and it's been built from scratch around it. So we've sort of developed our own proprietary large mental health model, which basically means essentially that, and we can ask me more after if you want, like it's like a walled garden. So it's completely safe for the children in terms of you're not going to be risking the dangers that you would say in OpenAI. Okay. But essentially, there's two sides to it. There is a child chat side with Lumi, our little robot, and it's given sort of coping strategies, self-management tools, validation, developing emotional literacy. But on the school side of it, and this is like where the magic happens really, we've got a full AI moderation system. So everything that the students say is analysed by the AI and categorised for levels of well-being, but also safeguarding risk. And, breaks it down and alerts whoever needs help. So it's almost a bit like a triage for early intervention.
Oh, wow. That sounds
so there you go.
Sounds very interesting. No, definitely want to hear more about that. So so you chose this title for today, Every Voice, Every Feeling, Insights from the Data That Matters. Can you tell us a bit more about that, what it means and why you chose it for today?
Okay, I think, to be honest, I came out of teaching because data became so important, which is the irony of it. Really. However, what I do recognize and understand is that, the data shows a picture. Okay. Yeah. So if data is gathered well and, is used against the points that are in sort of a specification, or, we're doing quite a lot of work at the moment in Abu Dhabi with the wellbeing mark coming in, for example. So, if you're taking, the pillars from there and using those as the main points to pull data, and you can measure the progress of every pupil, every staff member against that, then the data gives a really good comprehensive picture. And that's what you're trying to do with the data. So it's not just about that, though. It's about the process of what's happening to get that information. It's not just about a tick box. I have this saying, it's not about doing well-being. It's about living well-being, embedding it.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think we get into the habit in schools in particular of looking what, the criteria is. What are we getting inspected and making sure we meet that criteria, and finding data that proves that we're doing so.
Mm.
And actually what's missing sometimes there is the, what impact is it actually having on the students, on the staff, on their overall development and success and ability to thrive. And also from that data, how do we use the data to actually create change?
Oh, brilliant.
To fuel
Brilliant.
decisions.
Yeah, no, that sounds really, really important, actually. Can you tell us a bit more about the process then?
Yeah, sure. So I always try to make sure I'm not too long-winded with those, because actually it's very simple. So the easiest way to describe Lumi is that there's two sides to it. Okay, so there's the user side, which can be for either student or a staff member. Okay, and they are going into Lumi for a chat with a chatbot. Okay. However, the chatbot is, I'm going to grab him. So hopefully with my background, you'll still see him. This is Lumi. Oh, not very well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, he's not just a cute little robot. We've chosen a robot for a reason. We want to make sure that the users, that particularly the children, don't invest in the chatbot that much that they think it's a real person and build an unhealthy connection.
Yeah.
And it makes sure that it reminds them that it's AI all the time, and to encourage them, actually, you need to speak to your teacher, or you need to speak to your, your homeroom, or your teacher, or your mum. So essentially they're going in for a chat. Okay. And they are sharing how they're feeling. And the idea is to get snapshots throughout the day, not long sessions. We want to try and get these, children off digital in some ways.
So they can see the teddy. Okay. It's like this, like
it's a reminder. So you've got your little circle on the side of your chat, it's a reminder all of the time. This is AI, it's not a real person. And Lumi will say along the lines, we've trained the AI to say, the little ones are adorable on it. They'll say, are you a girl or are you a boy? When's your birthday? Are you married? All sorts of amazing things like this. Lumi, is trained to say, well, I'm not a real person, but I am here for you, to support you, to help you feel better, to talk about the exciting things in your life. So it doesn't just focus on negative, worrying feelings. It's also looking at joy and resilience and excitement and, so on and so forth. But, it looks like quite a light-hearted chat on the outside. But what it's doing all of the time is it's gathering not information, that I've done that wrong. So gathering a picture.
Right.
Of the child's personality, how they're doing in their wellbeing profile, how their social emotional literacy is developing and progressing, and looking for any issues that need the school staff to step in and support and help.
So how is it only built to have conversations about well-being?
It will talk about anything, but it's within that framework of well-being. So the children can go in and ask for help with homework. They can tell jokes. They can ask for a riddle. They can talk about a friendship issue. They can share that they are looking forward to their gymnastics competition that evening. Okay. So it's just a chat. It's a chat, but within that, it's able to pick up sentiment, context, and essentially a child could start on it at like 6, 7 years old, and they could still be on it as an adult, and it builds a picture and a history.
Wow.
Okay.
And sorry to interrupt you again. How long do they talk?
Ask away.
It's so interesting. So do they talk on this like once a day, or once a week, or how long do they talk on it?
Okay, well, listen, we try to be flexible. Every school setup's completely different, and we're not there to absolutely prescribe. Okay, but we do make a lot of recommendations of how to use and how to embed. And that's part of my role, is that, I work as a wellbeing manager, which means, I'm that contact for schools. So we recommend that ideally 5 to 10 minutes twice a day.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll build a picture. And the best times to do it, for obvious reasons, are after break and after lunch.
Oh,
Because
what are the obvious reasons?
because the children are outside playing, that's when they're more likely to become,
Oh,
not always, but more, there's more incidents of emotional like dysregulation. They're falling out with their friends or that,
oh,
and it
okay.
helps them to focus, quieten the class down.
Okay.
And be
Okay.
ready to move on and learn. So we say that, but what we also say is that, it can be used in sort of real time in a challenging situation or a transition issue. So let's say, I'll give you some of the examples. Let's say a child has arrived to school, they don't want to get off the bus, they're upset, and they won't come out. Finding out what's happening is really important, but sometimes
Definitely.
they're not ready to share what's happening
Yeah.
with somebody at school. So just, say, I'll just have a little chat on there, and they might start talking about something completely different. But the idea is that Lumi is trained and psychologists backed. The development was a long period of time. It took us over 14 months. And that's because you can't play around with AI. You can't throw something together and stick children in and pray that it's going to be safe, So we
Right,
had
yeah.
a really long pilot period to absolutely make sure that was nailed, and so it's trained to encourage the child to open up. And,
That's
and
brilliant, because
avoid
it gets
that
feel
distance.
connected.
Yeah.
Helps them feel connected. But does it give advice?
Not really actual
No.
advice. It gives
Okay.
coping strategies. So it'll do mindfulness and deep breathing. It will
Oh,
ask, do they need some ideas? Draw a picture about how you're feeling. Maybe, it will help to problem solve, but it wants the child to learn to problem solve, and it is designed to help them to do that themselves. It won't give them the answers.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
open questions, validation, open questions. Perhaps as far as it goes is a little bit of prompting, of scaffolding to take the conversation. You could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this.
Yeah.
What
Options.
do
Yeah.
you think would work best for you? If a
Yeah.
child sort of needs a conversation about a problem, it may say, do you want some support on some ideas of what might be good to say to your teacher if you're finding this hard to talk about? But yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So the other thing is to say really is that it's multi-language.
Okay.
So
Oh, brilliant. So
33 languages. Arabic was obviously the first for, with us being here.
yeah.
And it can, it's inclusive as well. There's lots of inclusive features as well.
Wow. No, it sounds amazing. And how long do you gather all the information, or sorry, the picture, for each child before you sort of have your outcome and maybe
Yeah. I mean, the idea really is that, it's not really a case of like, oh, come on it for 6 months and we'll give you, a result or a certificate. It's more of a case of, if you're really wanting to take wellbeing seriously, go that extra mile to really make sure that you know what's happening with pupil voice,
right. Okay.
then you embed Lumi and the ideas that we suggest into your school culture so that it's weaved within. Yeah, so that in assemblies, the head teacher is saying, guess what, everybody, our top emotion this week was resilience. Well done. Look at the hard work that we've done as a team. If we're all feeling that we can recover when things are difficult, and we can face challenges with, bravery, and realize when we've done well, and be proud. So the idea is that it's an ongoing tool and a support to wellbeing in the school. But I guess it probably takes about, even within 2 weeks, you're starting to get quite a good data set. The longer that goes on, the more people that chat obviously the number of students, the more accurate it becomes with time, you know. But it's, the data can be like drilled down to individual pupil. It can be a class, it can be a year group, it can be one school, it can be a whole school group, it can be government level. So you've really got the capacity to say, okay, which children in our school have low to moderate challenges? So we've got 40, for example, let's start a nurture group. You know, so
brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
What insights have you found? I know you've said some. So like, what are the main insights that you've found since doing this?
Do you know what's really odd? And this took me quite by surprise. We have had Lumi used in 3 countries now. Okay. And I thought there would be more of a cultural difference in what young people were struggling with. And it's not. It's the same across the board.
But it is,
no matter the culture, no matter the religion, like from what we're seeing so far.
Totally.
So that was lovely to see.
And what was the problem?
So no, it's fine, sure. So the top 3 really were like anxiety, low self-esteem, and the other 2 that come up are like anger and friendship issues. No surprise on that one, I guess.
Say that again.
It's probably not a surprise on that, because I think a big part of growing up is learning how to manage relationships, isn't it?
Oh, totally. Especially with social media, I think a lot of children are more isolated now, aren't they? And probably finding it hard to even make friends. I think it's having an effect.
Definitely.
Because they don't have to have those social skills. But no, really interesting. That completely makes sense to me, that it doesn't matter where you're from or anything.
And I'm talking there about like the concerning issue. So I need to put some perspective on that, okay? Because you know, I love this saying, I don't want to be a neckhead. It's not, you know, we don't just measure that. You know, the 2 that really stood out was joy and resilience.
Oh wow, really?
Yes.
That's nice to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And actually the greater the number of children that we got, the more those positive emotions seem to balance out much more, which is great.
Wow. Yeah.
What age group was it? Oh, sorry. This was, so we actually have like different age appropriate versions of Lumi. So we have Lumi Junior for primary age children and Lumi Senior for secondary. But even within that, there's more than one age appropriate version, because a 6-year-old is not going to read the same as a 10-year-old.
No.
So the amount of vocabulary, the emotional vocabulary, is appropriate to age. And so what you'll see for a sort of K11 is going to be hugely different.
Definitely.
So, and we've also got Lumi Plus, which is the staff version, which is adult. So, you know, that was taken across both age groups, but we can go in and break it down. So every school that works with us gets a wellbeing report every week.
Oh wow! From the
So on the Monday they get it from the week before. And that builds up so that they can compare them. And then we do, we do a termly one, which is all our partner schools, wherever they are in the world.
How detailed is the report then? Is it quite detailed?
It's fairly detailed, a few pages, you know.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it basically gives you the statistics.
Okay.
And what we find is that, do you know what? It's more or less the same everywhere. Between 87 and 90% tend to fall in what we say as our green chats. Okay. We use like a traffic light system. So green, all good to go, no issues. Amber, low to moderate well-being. These children need monitoring. Please keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Look at what sort of intervention you're going to do. Is it going to be within the whole year group? Is it going to be with a select group? Do they maybe need some of the school counselling sessions? Track and monitor. And then we've got at the top end, we've got like our red, which is urgent wellbeing, and purple for safeguarding. So it's approximately 87-90% green, which isn't that amazing? Really good.
I'm surprised, actually.
Yeah, and then we've probably got, I think we're about there's more amber than the red and purple, but they make up the rest of it, and they seem to be pretty much equal across the age ranges and also across the partner schools, which is interesting to see. But so it'll show you the breakdown. It will give you almost a bit like, it reminds me of the charts, like a top 10.
Yeah.
It gives you top 10 most seen emotions. So that'll include your positive and your negatives. It will tell you the difference between your previous week or your previous term if you're looking on a termly basis. It will recommend how you may tackle your problem areas and what you can do to celebrate the positives. So it's giving you your data and your stats. It's telling you perhaps why they might be there, but it's also giving you recommendations of what you can implement to keep moving forward and progressing.
No, it sounds very thorough. And in general, like, what has been your experience with children, using it? Like, do they like using it? I know, of course, every child is probably different, but generally, do they get on well with it?
Do you know, on the whole, yes. Right. And then I say it like that loosely because the first 2 weeks of people using it, I find it quite funny because it's so interesting. Right. You get people are wary, kids can be wary, especially teenagers, about sharing their feelings. They might not know how to label an emotion. They might be wary who's going to see it, where their information's going to go. So sometimes people are very slow and hesitant, that the young people.
Definitely.
Other times we have a little group that there's always this in every school that come on and rant at it. Silly AI, and I'm saying that politely. I don't want to do you. This is rubbish. You're an idiot, And what's great about that is, in the first school that this happened in, the head rung me up and apologized.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I'm so embarrassed, she said, that you're hearing this language, Laura, that they're getting cross and rude. And I said, why? She was a bit shocked. And I said, well, firstly, I have heard these words before.
Yeah. And it's honest feedback. You want honest feedback.
Yeah. And, I said, but I want to ask you something. How was the student afterwards? She said, well, this boy normally totally disrupts the whole class all day. He's a nightmare. He's got his challenges and his additional needs, but it's very, very disruptive. Staff are getting hit, it's really hard work. And I said, and after Lumi, she said, well, he goes on and rants and swears, and then he will sit down and he's done more work than he's done in the whole of the last 12 months.
Wow.
And his regulation's better.
Yeah.
And the boys' take on it was, well, if I swear to Lumi, I don't get into trouble. So it's better to get it out.
Amazing. Well, that's what it is, actually. It's getting it out, isn't it? That's the whole thing.
Yeah. And with the older students, you get some who are jokers when they first come on. They'll try and catch it out. So they'll make up, safeguarding issues. But what's great with it is that will flag up. And then, what would, if you saw somebody that had put a safeguarding issue on, you're going to sit down and talk with them.
Exactly.
What would you do, Jasmine, if you found out that it's, clearly pretty quickly it's not true? How would you restore that with the student?
Well, yeah, I'll talk to them. Yeah, I'll talk to them.
And tell them it's inappropriate to lie. This is a serious thing.
Exactly. Just
it's a life lesson. Yeah, it's a life lesson. It's emotional literacy. It's time to grow up. You cannot tell fibs about safety because somewhere in this school, somebody isn't safe and they need this. So that is developing the emotional literacy. And then what you find
Definitely.
is
And they, because you're having that conversation, sorry, you're having an honest conversation again. So
yeah. And so what that does then is move it on and moves that social maturity on.
Totally.
And then probably by week 2, they've settled down and all of a sudden they're conversing about things.
Yeah.
Patterns are so interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, we've got a question here, and we are running out of time, but from Sarah on Instagram. Hi Sarah, she says, how can teachers encourage children to share honest thoughts and feelings without fear?
Okay. You know what? It might be controversial with some educators. One of the things is that I think we need to model talking about emotions.
I believe that.
So that's really, really important, is that we need to let the children know it is okay to share.
I love that.
You know, even if that's as simple as, oh, I'm so tired today. I had a really stressful night. I didn't sleep well. You know, please, can you be kind today? And then at the end of the lesson, I really appreciate that you helped me gather those books in.
Yes.
You know, so it's making that talk about emotions as important as their ability to answer 10 maths questions.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
That's what I would say. I mean, we also say that if a school are adopting Lumi and they're using Lumi Plus for the staff, share that the staff are using it. I've been on it. It's great. Really helped me. I was really wound up last night. How are you finding it?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
So it's normalizing it. It's normalizing it and celebrating when somebody's able to do something.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Laura. We have run out of time, but I know we could obviously talk about this for longer, but thank you so much for sharing all of that. It sounds an incredible tool that you've created. It really does. And I think schools should be really, queuing up to implement this system with them. But as we run out of time, is there anything else you want to say about that, or a message for any schools or parents listening before we go?
I think the thing is always to create an open environment where it's celebrated and normalized to share how we are feeling, and make that space and listen, and don't jump to conclusions about what's going on.
That's a good one. Don't jump to
because sometimes the children that are really out there and the behavior tells us there's an issue are not the only ones that are struggling.
Oh God,
and I think and that is where Lumi picks up those kids that get missed. Make space for everybody, and support each other. And also with regards to Lumi, every school gets a free trial, so give us a go, and see whether it is something that works for your school. We're here, and please kind of get in touch if you've got any questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Laura. So if anyone has any questions about what we've been talking about today, please message Laura directly or write a comment or question on the post, and we will be in touch with you. But thank you so much, Laura. It was an absolute pleasure hearing about what you're doing in schools. It's so necessary. And thank you everybody else for joining, and I will see you next week.
Take care. Bye.